Yes, hello and welcome to the Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty Show. The best three are back and we are 1 week out from the NFL draft. It is incredibly exciting times. And so with that, boys, I've got a draft question, a really quick one for you both. So I'm going to put James on the spot right now. I need the correct answer only. How many quarterbacks are going to go in round one of the NFL draft next Thursday night?
Do you need me to name
them? Yes.
Round one, we'll go 3. It's quite a boring answer, I think, but I think we'll obviously Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, and we'll go Jackson Dart sneaking in. I think there's lots of sort of rumours that maybe Sanders is going to drop out. Maybe Dart isn't a second round player, but yeah, I'll go 3. What do you reckon, Max?
I'll push the boat way out. We're going to get a few shocks, a few surprises. I'm going to say we're shockingly going to see, just like last year, we're going to see 5 quarterbacks go in the first round, and it's going to blow everyone's mind. We're going to see Cam Ward go number 1. We're going to see Shador Sanders go probably immediately right after him, despite all the talk. We're going to see Jackson Dart go. We're going to see Jalen Milroe go in the first round. He's been invited to be there in person. He's going the first round. And let me tell you, Quinn Ewers is also going to go in the first round. People are going to fall in love with that talent and that prospect. And Quinn Ewers is going to go in the first round.
Wow, that would be an absolute shocker, but I love that answer. Max, my question to you is, how many wide receivers do we get in round one? Correct answer only, please.
Ooh, now that is a more interesting question almost, actually, because that's it. 3. Now, are we cutting Travis Hunter here? Like that's the caveat, right?
No, he's a unicorn.
Yeah, he's unicorn. Let's say we're definitely going to see Ted McMillan. I would say we'll see Luther Burden. Maybe Trey Harris. Someone takes a pop at Trey Harris in the first round. I'll be conservative and say 2. Just Burden and Ted.
Wow, James.
Yeah, higher. I'm sure. Yeah, I think there's enough that someone else will go. Golden or Igbuka, something like that.
Igbuka could go. Yeah, you're right. Igbuka should go as well.
Yeah, and I think Matthew Golden, despite what a lot of people think, I think the NFL are really, really high on him. So I think we get 3, and I think Luther Burden slips. That's my prediction. Anyway, we are hitting up. These players could slip in the NFL draft and therefore be available from rounds 3 in your rookie draft. So topic tonight, rookie late round gems. So we had a rookie mock a couple of weeks ago, so we could not pick players who we picked in the first 2 rounds. Therefore, only players available after that. So we're looking at guys that you can realistically draft in rounds 3 and rounds 4 of your rookie drafts coming up in May, June, and July. So we've selected 2 running backs and 1 wide receiver each. And we're starting off with you, James. And you've picked a running back that's also called James. So explain why this guy could be a late round steal.
Yeah, so with these late round picks, certainly with running backs, we're trying to find someone like Bucky Irving, aren't we? Who I think in most rookie drafts, he was sort of the 3rd, 4th round pick last year. I think was he 4th round of the NFL draft? Certainly day 3. So why not look at his old teammate, Jordan James? I've written down that he was more efficient than Bucky Irving when they were both in the backfield, but obviously a much smaller sample size because he wasn't getting the sort of workload that Irving was getting. But he had 7.1 yards per carry to 6.3 for Irving, and they actually had the same number of rushing touchdowns, and he did that in 79 fewer carries. Obviously, now this year as the lead back, he's certainly not has been that efficient with. I think he's in the 5 yard per carry range rather than 7.1. So yeah, if he was still that efficient, we wouldn't be talking about him in this show. We'd have been drafting him in the first 2 rounds of our rookie mock. But one of the reasons I did want to talk about him is we haven't got him ranked in our top 15 running backs either. But Dane Brugler at the Athletic released the Beast last week with his big board on it, and he had him as his 7th running back. So I think that I mean, someone's wrong there, but I think it just shows what this running back class is like, where there's so many of them, we really don't know where they're actually going to get drafted outside the top 5 running backs. There's sort of 10, 15 that it wouldn't really shock us if one was taken in the 3rd round and one was in the 7th, and it completely switched around. So yeah, I think Jordan James is certainly not sort of been sort of spoken about as a day 2 pick really, and I think something similar to Bucky Irving, where his sort of measurables aren't really that outstanding. But there are some things that you can't measure about a player, and obviously we saw that with Irving last year. I think he's not necessarily a home run threat, but he's as a running back, but he's going to get what's blocked for him. He's a consistent player. Keeps his feet moving, gets positive yards. And also seen him line up as a wide receiver a fair bit, and obviously we love that PPR upside. So yeah, I think he's someone that could really wildly go in any 3rd round to 7th round in the real draft, and it wouldn't be a shock. But someone that we need to keep on our radar, because we've seen this with his teammate last year, and if he does go sort of 4th, 5th round, then there's a potential that he is going to be a fantasy asset for us at some point.
Yep, Mags, are you a fan of Jordan James out of Oregon?
Yeah, he's one of those guys, kind of what James is talking about. It's going to depend where the chips fall after the draft here, but he's not someone that I've got a big red X through. He's not off my board in any way. He's a talented enough running back that if he lands in a situation where he could get some kind of a role, I'd be interested in taking him. He's just in that massive... It's almost like I've described the tight end landscape outside of the top 4 tight ends before as like from 4 to 20 is just like mush. This running back class feels a bit like that as well. There's like 15 guys in this kind of weird sort of mush where you don't really know what's going to happen until you see where they land. And Jordan James is definitely inside that category of might draft, but gotta wait and see.
Yeah, same. Come from a decent score. I think he's someone that could be a good complement to. He's someone that I think is a thumper, could be a good goal line back for positive yardage, which is good. So yeah, I think he's not a flashy player, but then again, there wasn't that going to be this world beater that he turned out to be, and he got drafted in the 4th round, which I can see happening. Yeah, let's wait and see. I think that is a very, very solid pick. And Mags, to you for your Texas Tech for your running back.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about Taj Brooks here, a guy that, anyone following me over on X will have seen that I did a weekly sort of college football roundup talking about who caught my eye, who did really well. And, after I kind of correlated the scores throughout the year, Taj Brooks, he did really, really well, actually, whenever I looked at all of the scores I had throughout the year. He ended up actually finishing up ahead of a guy like Dylan Sampson, who we know had a really productive year. And then you look at some of the other numbers from Taj Brooks, if you look at it, he was top 10 in college football with scrimmage yards. He was top 10 in college football for touchdowns. He was top 10 at the combine in terms of athleticism scores, according to Next Gen Stats. He's a really good running back. I thought he had excellent vision, especially in and around the end zone. It's just that he doesn't excel in any particular, category. He's not a superbly quick player. He's not amazingly strong. He's kind of really quite good at everything. So nothing pops off the page. But whenever I go back and I look at those scores, it ranges from a minimum of 0 up to a maximum of 5. Not once in any week did he score 5. In fact, he only ever scored a 4 twice. But every week it was 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, just consistently giving you what you want and what you need. So Taj Brooks, for me, is someone that, if, again, talk about this mush, if he ends up in the right place, I can see Taj Brooks being a really solid, reliable player for an NFL team. And we know that with running backs, all you need is a chance, and I think he's good enough to get one.
Yep. And that brought to my attention for Taj Brooks. So in 19 of his 100 plus yards. Now that is
we lost you there, Ali. We didn't hear that excellent stat. It was 19 something, and then we lost you.
19 of his last 22 games, he rushed for 100 plus yards.
Yeah, just Mr. Consistent.
This guy is 46 runs of 15 plus yards in 20. Just another one that I think he can handle the workhorse role. 600. So I am a fan of Taj Brooks. James, do you like Taj Brooks? Is he someone that's on?
Oh.
So you may have noticed Ali has just left the room. Rumor has it he's remembered that he's a Bucks fan and got quite sad about that, so he had to leave. Some other people saying he's having internet issues. Either way, James, he had just pitched to you about Taj Brooks. Do you like the guy? Have you seen much of him? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think similar to what you said, it's the all-around back that could easily see himself get an opportunity in the NFL. Some sort of different stats to what you reeled out just to sort of show how productive he was in college. 3,000 yards and 27 touchdowns across the last 2 years. And he's the only other back, in addition to Amari and Hampton, that has had back-to-back 1,500-yard seasons the last 2 years. So, just super productive. But like you said, nothing really elite that would push him right up the draft boards, because if he had any of those elite traits, we wouldn't be talking about him as a sleeper like this. But that's not to say that he can't be sort of productive at the NFL as well. Given the opportunity.
Yeah, and the two running backs Ali was going to talk about do have those elite traits in terms of speed and athleticism for sure. You've got DJ Giddens out of Kansas State and Jadon Blue out of Texas, both really good athletes. Giddens in particular seems to be a bit of a freak athlete. I think next week, James, whenever we're going through our mock draft, Ali might have a chance to have a chat about those two guys. So we'll leave the floor to him next week to chat about that. Make sure if you're watching at home, you're subscribed up to the show over on YouTube, or follow us on X or wherever it is, so you don't miss out on that. So James, we'll pass over Ali's picks and give him a chance to shine in those next week. Let's go back to you, shall we? You've got, I was talking to you before we started recording. I love this pick that you've made here with your second running back.
Yeah, so my second running back is Damian Martinez. It's again another case of it's not necessarily someone that I'm massively higher on than consensus on, but there's just a chance that he's one of the first 8 or 10 running backs that gets drafted in the draft. And if that happens, we've got to pay attention. He's a big guy, physical runner. He's one of those where he doesn't look like he's going to have the agility, but I think he does have quick feet for his size. He's not necessarily an explosive guy, but I think he's got quick enough feet that he can make a man miss. Run off some big chunk gains. I think from a receiving point of view, quite limited production, but I think it's fine. Like at the NFL, he's not going to be asked to be sort of a third down running back, but I think when he's on the field, he's more than capable. I think he's probably one of those where, because he's such a big back, we might be kind of hoping that he lands on one of the good teams that's going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns, because he's probably even getting the goal line work. And if he was to go to a bad team, the Giants or someone like that, for example, there's probably not going to be many touchdowns on offer. But you obviously never know. Things can turn around quite quickly. I just think that he has the sort of profile where if he does get drafted slightly earlier than expected, he's got to be on our radars, third round rookie drafts for sure.
Yeah, he's someone I really liked last year out of Oregon State. He was someone that was on my radar then. And then when he made that move to Miami, I thought really great things were coming. He got off to a really slow start over at Miami, but as the season went on, he started to really heat up and show some of the things he had at Oregon State. He's a real big-bodied thumper, like you said, goal line back. He can do enough on first and second down as well, hopefully to get you into a good position. So I think he could serve a role really nice summer. He also managed to crack 1,000 yards, which is really nice. Barely just got there, but he did it for Miami in the end. So I think some team's gonna find a role for Damian Martinez for sure. And again, like we said, it's all about that landing spot. But I'm sure there's enough teams now looking for that thumper running back that Martinez should find at home. The second guy I'm going to speak about, you may recognize the second name, but maybe not the first. Trevor Etienne, brother of Travis Etienne. Again, I kind of like Martinez. Last year was kind of more impressive for me for Trevor Etienne whenever he was over at Florida. I had a friend of the show, Murph, on the Dynasty hot seat, and we were having a little chat about some running backs that we like, some prospects that we like, and I had mentioned, Florida, that I did like young Etienne over at Florida for his Gators team, and then he informed me that he had been traded to Georgia, which I was completely unaware of at the time. So I think I broke his heart a little bit. So again, sending apologies out to Murph and all Florida fans about that. But Etienne came out, he had low, speed in the low end 4.2s, so almost cracking into that real elite stage of speed there, or 4.3, sorry, almost cracking into the 4.2s for his 40-yard dash. So really, really nice. Like I said, I liked him over at Florida. His production actually didn't drop that much over at Georgia, but I think you just didn't see it as much, or maybe people were expecting a little bit more. But that Georgia team, as we've seen, wasn't the offensive force that it has been. The offensive line was nothing like we come to see from past Georgia teams. I think he's solid all around. I think he's got really nice hands when he needs to. He could do kind of everything a little bit like, when I was talking about Taj Brooks, he does everything quite well. The only thing is he's a bit small. He is a bit small. That might be something that will hold him back. Apart from that, real solid player. You've probably heard of, Trevor Etienne. Did you get a chance to see much of him over at Georgia?
Yeah, again, very similar points to you, where it's the all-around play, and I think that's what we're seeing with a lot of these running backs we're talking about today that are sort of maybe going to be day 3 picks and might squeeze into day 2. They're all-around running backs that can certainly contribute in the NFL, and it's just going to be a case of which ones go where. I think he's, as part of a committee, probably a bit more of a pass catcher. He certainly will be, contributing at NFL level. And then it's just whether he gets that kind of opportunity to take the step up, whether that's someone just underperforming in front of him or someone getting injured, much like, has happened with his brother in the past. What was it? Was Etienne the James Robinson year, where he was drafted and then James Robinson got the chance? Or
he got injured immediately. He missed
exactly.
He broke his foot in preseason or something weird.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, he missed. There might be someone that is slated to be ahead of his brother, and then something happens, and then he gets a chance, and he's fine. Like we said, he's a good all-around back, so he's not going to play himself off the field. I don't think he's as explosive as his brother was, which kind of makes sense because his brother was a first-round pick, and he's definitely not going to be. We say that it's highly unlikely. It's not someone that I'm desperate to hit the button, click on, but I think. Once we see where he's gone, it will make more sense as to whether he's likely to, be a relevant fantasy asset for us. And sure, 3rd or 4th round rookie pick, absolutely fine.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. So let's move on down the road a little bit. Let's talk about our one wide receiver that we've picked each night. Ali picked Torrey Horton, and no idea why. He absolutely sucks. So I'll let Ali defend himself next week on that. If Torrey Horton comes up, that guy stinks. So we'll see why Ali likes him in a while, I'm sure. You've gone for a much more sensible player in Jalen Royals, though. Really nice sleeper pick, James. What do you like about him?
Yeah, it feels a little bit like a bit of a cheat, because I think maybe in a lot of rookie drafts he might be going in the 2nd round, but he didn't go in our one that we did a few weeks ago. I think I looked up the stat. He was the only. He obviously was injured a lot in 2024, but before the injury, he was averaging 119 yards per game, which is pretty productive. I think that's top 5 in college football. But the year before, I think he was the only receiver with 70 receptions and 15 touchdowns. So just productive. It's one of those where you watch when you watch him play, and he's always in that wide left spot. There was a few where he was moved around, but he felt very much like Terry McLaurin as a Commanders fan, watching him just always line up in the same place, and just want to see him move around a little bit more. So I don't know, maybe that's something that might be a bit of an issue to some teams, seeing that not necessarily that flexible. I think a lot of his production was from sort of screens and things like that, because he's got that short area quickness where he can make a few players miss on the screen and get you a quick sort of 8 to 10 yards. I don't know if he's really ever going to be sort of a target hog at the NFL level, but as a complementary wide receiver that, is a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 on a team, can certainly be productive. And going back to Dane Brugler again, he has him as his wide receiver 7. So is another where he kind of thinks he's going to go earlier than a lot of other people do. I think he's normally sort of in the 10 to 12 range. But wide receiver 7 could easily be sort of day 2 or even second round pick, really. I mean, I know you think only 2 are going to go in the first round, but if we get a few more go, it could be a second or third round pick. And again, that's sort of means he needs to be on our radars. I think he's certainly going to be, if he does go that early, he's certainly going to be in the conversation for a second round rookie pick rather than a third round. But I think there's a lot to like there. Just like I say, I'm not sure that he's really going to be sort of earning too many targets. It has to be some schemed up stuff. But a lot to like. What do you think?
Yeah, it's really. I was going to make a general point, and obviously I've still got to chat about my wide receiver as well. But I think just in general, a tactic that I have is once we start to get into the third round and look at these receivers that have maybe fallen in the NFL draft. I mean, even though for the purpose of the show, we're telling the audience about them, I tend to not go near these guys like at all. I will almost, 9 times out of 10, just take a running back or a tight end here anyway. I don't know if that's something that you do, even though I might like a guy like a Royals or like the guy I'm about to talk about. I'd always just swing the bat at an ETN or one of these running backs instead, because I just see the chance of them becoming something for your dynasty team so much higher than one of these later round wide receivers. Sure, you might miss out on a guy like Puka Nacua, but we can't really talk about too many examples other than Puka when that's happened. So it's incredibly unlikely. Is that a strategy you have as well, James, or do you like taking the flyer on some of these wide receivers?
Never say never. If there's a guy that I think should have been taken earlier, or should have gone earlier in the real NFL draft, then I think that's not going to put me off them. But in general, across sort of maybe in like 10 to 12 leagues, I'm not looking to take a wide receiver in more than a couple in that like third, fourth round sort of thing. You're looking for those players that, like you say, volume players, like a running back that all it needs is an injury or something, and then you're confident starting them. If you're seeing a wide receiver go day 3 of the NFL draft, other than Puka Nacua, really, when are we ever going to be that confident in starting them? It's going to take a long time for us to build up that confidence to start them in our dynasty teams. And if you're going to be throwing them on the taxi slots, you want a running back that really earns that opportunity and sort of gets that opportunity, and then you see him earn a sort of more permanent role. And then with tight ends are the same, where because it's kind of takes so long for them to develop, you don't really want to be wasting early draft picks on them. So why not take a few flyers on tight ends later on? I think that would definitely be the case this year as well. Especially we don't really see the wide receiver class being as deep as we see the running back class this year. So this year, far more running backs I think will be taken in these rounds than wide receivers. But never say never, because maybe everyone's got that attitude, and there's a wide receiver that you think should have gone much earlier. So
definitely there has to be a balance as well. If everyone's taking running backs, there's definitely something to be said for zigging when everyone else is zagging as well, for sure. But I do have one more guy to talk about, and I know sitting listening at home, we got Phil Cartledge over at the Devy team is getting real excited here because I'm going to talk about nice and spicy Nick Nash, James. This guy, the Triple Crown winner from college football this year, led all of college football for wide receivers in yards, in touchdowns, and receptions. The production you cannot fault. I mean, this guy is also 6'3", 200 pounds, seems to be a really, really good athlete. The thing is, people correctly point out he's playing in the Mountain West against, defensive backs that are never going to see an NFL field in their life. They'd be lucky to see a CFL field in their life. Let's be honest here. So that is the big issue. But for my eyes, I'm like, you don't know until you know. So this guy obviously produced what he could against the competition he had in front of him. He produced better than anybody else in that Mountain West division or in any other division in college football. So when the production is that high and that good, he might be worth a flyer in your, definitely not third round, fourth round, might even go undrafted. And I know people will be saying, oh, but doesn't Ashton Genty play in the Mountain West? Boise State had a very different schedule to the San Jose, whatever the hell he plays for over there. Yeah, it's a different ball game completely with the schedule. I think Boise State even played like Oregon and teams like that. So he's someone I'm keeping my eye on for sure, just because that production was so good. He maybe is a bit of a one-trick pony, but I'm gonna keep an eye out for Nick Nash. I also just like that he's nice and spicy. Nick Nash, James. I can't lie. I've got an affinity for this guy now. I can't help it.
Yeah, he's someone that I haven't seen a whole bunch of, but when I knew that you were putting him forward, I went and watched a bit, and I looked at his stats, and he was a quarterback for a couple of years, right? So
yeah,
his receiving stats and everything was all. I was like, what? He only had 4 receptions in a year, but obviously, yeah, he wasn't playing the position, so kind of a reason why, I guess, a bit of a late developer. But yeah, like I said, after the regular season, led the college football in all those areas. 16 touchdowns is not to be sniffed at. Yeah, I don't know how high the ceiling is. Haven't seen the competition that he's up against, but he's one of those where, yeah, you could see him being a sort of a possession wide receiver, third downs, reliable target, but he's not necessarily going to ever be sort of a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 for us in fantasy. But yeah, get him a bit of volume, and yeah, he's shown that he can produce. So yeah, certainly worth keeping an eye out for.
I'm rooting for him 100%. Like, it's kind of guy I would love to see go out and do well. And sometimes if you're in the 4th round, James, I don't know about you, but I'll just be like, what, I like this guy. I'm going to take him. I just want this guy on my team somewhere. So that's where Nick Nash is for me. And hey, we've just hit the 2-minute warning, James. So I've got some great questions from our wonderful viewers over here. We got some Dynasty trade questions. If you want your trade to be put up on the show next week, please look out for the post over on X and put in some of your trade questions. We'll answer it on the show if we get round to it. So let's start off with a bit of a different one here, James. We're talking best ball here. Something, full disclosure, I absolutely suck at. So you're going to be the guy that's going to take the reins. So you think at best ball, you think it's going to be easier. It's just not. I don't know. I'm terrible at it. So let's go through. We got Bijan Robinson and Devontae Adams on side A, Garrett Wilson, Cedric Tillman, and a 2026 first on the other side. Where are you leaning with that trade?
Yeah, Ali knows how to pick them, or our listeners know which ones that we need to kind of discuss, because these are always pretty close. Mm-hmm. I think with the Dynasty Best Ball, I do view the trades a little bit differently, in that sometimes having the extra asset is better than it would be where you've got to pick your lineup, because normally if you're picking your lineup, you want that stud that you can sort of rely on. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the Best Ball leagues, you're obviously not picking the lineup, so having a couple more sort of decent options that could have a good week and sort of help you out. With this trade, obviously it's 2 players on either side, but there is the first on that side. I would take the side that had the first. It's tough because I think I'm assuming that the side that's getting Bijan and Adams is a contender, in which case I see that as perfectly fine. It's a perfectly fine trade if you're contending, and that's the value that you get, because Cedric Tillman, I think he had some some good games this past season, and kind of looked like he was potentially stepping up to be that reliable weekly player for you. But just getting Bijan and Devontae Adams, that's a kind of acceptable price to pay, I think, for them. If I'm not an all-out contender, then I would take the other side, just because I think Garrett Wilson is a similar sort of value asset to Bijan. Probably not quite at the same level, but you're getting a first back. So yeah, I would probably lean that side. But if I'm certain that I'm a contender, I'm fine with the Bijan side as well.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I tend to think the value of Garrett Wilson on that first does slightly outweigh Bijan and Devontae Adams but like I said, I'm terrible at best ball, so it's probably the Bijan side if I'm thinking that. So who knows? Let's move on to something I know I am good at, James, and that's Dynasty, right? We got a 12-team Dynasty, non-best ball, Superflex, PPR, tight end premium on this one as well. We got Bijan again, but this time you got Bijan Robinson, Chris Godwin, and old man Joe Flacco, or the 106, the 107, the 208, and a 2026 second round pick. What are you thinking on that side?
Yeah, it's another one where I don't know if I have an obvious answer. I think Bijan is he worth the 2 first? I think normally he would be. I think those first 106 and 107, right? So yeah, they're probably, how many of the top running backs are we going to see go? We kind of see 3 or 4 go by that time, don't we? So
you're talking about Judkins, is that kind of area?
Yeah. So I think the 2, if you say Bijan isn't quite worth the 2 first, but then you're getting Godwin as well, and who knows, you might even get some startable games out of Flacco this year.
Yeah.
And then the 208 and the 26 second could end up being nothing. So yeah, I'll probably take the side. I'm sure Ali would agree as well. Take the Godwin side. You get that stud running back. Godwin, he's kind of one of the top wide receivers, wasn't he, to start the season? So yeah, and then who knows, maybe a few games out of Flacco. It's probably just that side for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'll take the Bijan side, although I do like the idea of coming out of a draft with, Judkins and maybe Igbuka right after as well,
Yeah.
which would be quite nice. And Bijan and Godwin on the other side, the more proven assets, which I tend to lean on most of the time anyway. So I would go with Bijan and Godwin on that side as well. So let's go. This time we're going 10-team, 1 quarterback. I'm not in a lot of 1 QB leagues, but I dabble a little bit in there. PPR with no tight end premium. Oh, you get the 101 in this 10-man league. Jonnu Smith and everyone's favorite running back this time last year, Kimani Vidal. Remember him? Or on the other side, you get Joe Mixon, the 108, and the Holy Grail, a 2027 first, James.
When I looked at this, I missed that it was 1 QB, so now I don't have an answer prepared. I think probably I would in that situation I would lean the 101. In that it's 10 teams as well, so yeah, that 108 Joe Mixon combo is not really that exciting in a 1 QB league. Obviously, like you say, it's got your 27 first there, but I think having the 101 there, knowing you get Ashton Janty, Jonnu Smith was obviously a tight end 1 for large chunks of the season. So if that carries on, then you've kind of got 2 startable assets there. I guess it's the more exciting side for now as well. Having that 101 leading up to the draft. I'd take that side. I might be wrong there, but I think it's just a more exciting one.
It's close, isn't it? You're essentially paying 3 firsts for Ashton Janty here, and you get a bit of extra, right? Joe Mixon's probably worth a late first, still maybe early second, right? So it's whether you think Janty is worth those 3 firsts or not. Man, I tend to think so. This guy seems like a special running back, so I'd take the 101 side. Plus, you get Jonnu Smith, who's very usable, and you could, cut Kimani Vidal. Like, yeah, who knows? Let's see. If I was this person, why get Kimani Vidal? Get a 4th.
Yeah.
Get anything else apart from Kimani Vidal, who's couldn't break into a team with a 1-legged J.K. Dobbins, and I don't know who else was there. Some other guy, Ali. That's where Ali's currently actually. That's where he is right now. This is trying out for the Chargers. So Let's go on. We got two more. We're sticking with the 10-team league, PPR tight end premium. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jordan Mason, or Bucky Irving, Jalen McMillan. Wow, we got the Buck stack and the 205. Now, Mason, he has just signed somewhere. I'm blanking on where, right?
The Vikings, I think, isn't it? They traded for him.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess he's going to have a role. It's Aaron Jones, isn't it? And Aaron Jones never has all the backfield touches. So it seems like Jordan Mason is going to be, that might even be a bit more of a trap though, because are you really going to want to start him with Aaron Jones there in the backfield with him? It's difficult, isn't it? I think, but I guess he's in good insurance for if anything does happen to Jones. He always misses some time, doesn't he? So you're getting some games out of him. It's difficult for me. I just could have gone. The Marvin Harrison Jr. side should just be the obvious answer, really. I don't know if Jalen McMillan and the 205 are really interesting me too much. And obviously Bucky Irving was, sort of a top tier running back one for the second half of the season, and you can be sort of confident. I don't think the Bucks are going to be one of the teams that draft one of these running backs early, at least, that sort of crater his value. So I think we can be probably more confident with starting Irving over Marvin Harrison Jr. But you just that upside there that we think Marvin Harrison Jr. still has. I think that's where I would go. I guess it's another fair one though, where if you're contending, you need a running back. You like Bucky Irving, that's fine. I wouldn't argue with it too much.
Yeah, I took the Marvin Harrison Jr. side here fairly easily. I still think he's one of the best prospects we've ever seen coming out of college. I think he'll get it right eventually. We've seen it happen with other wide receivers before go off to a slow start. I think Harrison will come in and he'll do much better next year. This next one is all over the place, James. I don't even know what is going on here. 12 teams. There seems to be two of the same pick somehow. So let's break it down here. We got 12 teams, PPR tight end premium. Josh Downs, Najee Harris, Justin Fields, and the 105, or Sam Laporta, Jalen Polk, the 105 and 211. Let's say this, James. If that was the 104 or the 106, would it sway you in any particular way, or does it not matter for you?
I've just found the tweet. It's a 102 on the Laporta side.
That makes more sense.
So Harris, Fields, Downs, 105, Laporta, Polk, 102, 211. But now, is it going to change the answer? I think I'm not a Laporta fan. We haven't seen anything out of Polk. But the 102, is that going to... I guess if you're trading down from the 102 to 105, am I happy getting those players in return? I think I probably am. I'm still getting the three picks later, and I'm probably getting top 4-ish running back. Even maybe get Cam Ward there. I'll probably take the Downs, Harris, Field side, because I'm really not a Sam Laporta guy.
I think Najee Harris is in for a big year. Kamani Vidal, despite Kamani Vidal, being his competition there. So I really like that side with the 105 and Harris. Who knows what can happen with Justin Fields? Probably nothing but bad things over at the Jets. Josh Downs is a nice player, but if Anthony Richardson is throwing it to him, that's not going to end well. And like I said, on the other side, I do like the 102, but there is a small chance you can get a guy like Trevion Henderson at the 105 anyway. Yeah. That would just be great. Someone who could get at the 102 and 105 range. That could be anyone right now. The 101 is the only locked-in secure position at the moment, and the rest seems slightly up for debate from the 2 all the way down to probably the 6 position. So, I really like that trade as well, James. And that brings us to the end of the show. Apologies for any technical difficulties that we had. Hopefully, myself and James landed the ship nicely. James, a much nicer second half of the show, wouldn't you say, without Alan?
Much more peaceful. Obviously, hopefully he gets a chance next week to go through those players that he picked, because I think it'd be some interesting points that he'll have to sort of get across there. Some of those players are pretty nice, and I think he got first choice to pick those. So probably some interesting points that we can discuss next week, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait. Make sure you're keeping an eye out for that tweet about the 2-minute warning, and also make sure you're following us everywhere, over on X, over on YouTube, all of that good stuff. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. From James and me, Mags, saying goodbye. And remember, when you have the wild card, you have the power to change the game. See you next week.